Hello. Welcome everyone to the FCA International Webinar Series. I'm your host, Josiah Marr, Director of International Students at the Fredericton Christian Academy. Our topic for today is Experience Atlantic Canada. There's so many exciting things I'm looking forward to sharing with you. First of all, I want to say I appreciate you joining, whether you're joining right now live or watching this recording later. Let's jump right in and enjoy our time together. Our plan for this session is to learn about the region of Canada called Atlantic Canada, to learn about provincial tourism, each of the 4 provinces, then talk about New Brunswick and Fredericton, our school, the Fredericton Christian Academy, and then a question and answer period at the end. Thanks again for joining me. Let's jump right in. First of all, let's learn together a little bit about Atlantic Canada. As you can see from the map of Canada here, the Atlantic Canadian provinces are highlighted in blue. There is Newfoundland, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. Now, these 4 provinces make up what we call Atlantic Canada, and it's also known as the Maritimes or the Maritime region. Now, the Maritimes is well known for what's called maritime hospitality, a community focus, or a warm and welcoming environment, where even strangers are nice to each other and where people have positive interactions often. FCA, my school, is located in New Brunswick in the capital city of Fredericton. I'll get into more about New Brunswick in a little bit, but first, let's talk about these other provinces in the region. We're going to discuss a little bit of tourism and what are the sites and things that students and families that come to FCA or that come to this region for university can experience and enjoy. First of all, there's the province of Nova Scotia. For each of these provinces, you'll notice that I mentioned the capital city, the flight distance from Toronto, and you might be wondering, why Toronto specifically? Well, when I travel overseas, when I meet with families on Zoom, I often find that people know where Vancouver is and where Toronto is. Maybe they have an aunt and uncle or cousin that studies at university there or lives in those cities. I wanted to give a common place of connection being Toronto in order to know how far of a flight it is so you can understand for a point of reference. So Nova Scotia's capital city is Halifax, and Halifax is a 2-hour and 10-minute flight from Toronto. Halifax is pictured in the top left. There are nice boardwalks along the coast and some nice restaurants. And it's actually the biggest city in Atlantic Canada, about 300,000 people or so. There are different tourism opportunities as well, pictured here on my screen, and so many more that I don't even have time to mention. But the top right is the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Lunenburg, which is a preserved fishing village and historical area. In the bottom left, there's Peggy's Cove, which is a lighthouse on the ocean with waves that kind of crash on the rocks, a nice picturesque area to visit. On the bottom right is the Cabot Trail. Cabot Trail is a few 100 kilometers of roads around the northern part of Nova Scotia, and just lots of coastal views, and one of the unique features of our region. All right, so next we're going to learn about Prince Edward Island. Prince Edward Island's capital city is Charlottetown, pictured in the top left. Charlottetown is a 2-hour and 10-minute flight as well from Toronto. And some unique tourism elements of Prince Edward Island. One is Anne of Green Gables. Now, if you're from Japan or some other countries, you might have heard of Anne of Green Gables because Anne of Green Gables is sometimes studied in public school curriculum in different countries. Now, Anne of Green Gables is a fictional character, so a made-up character that the stories take place in different towns and cities in Prince Edward Island. So the house in the top right photo is kind of a depiction or a made version of what was discussed in the story. From there, in the bottom left, there's the PEI National Park. Each of our provinces has one or more national parks, and this one has lots of nice walking trails and scenery. Then on the bottom right is the Cavendish Beach, and you can see a little bit of the red soil that is famous in Prince Edward Island, and just a nice area to visit and relax in the summers. The next province in Atlantic Canada that I want to highlight to you in our Experience Atlantic Canada webinar is Newfoundland. Newfoundland is the largest province by land area, but the second smallest by population. Newfoundland, actually, its full name is Newfoundland and Labrador, kind of two land masses that are close to each other. A flight from Toronto to the capital city of St. John's, Newfoundland, is 3 hours and 40 minutes. So Newfoundland's a little bit more east and a little bit more north in terms of the geography relation to the other Atlantic provinces. And St. John's is pictured there in the top left. In the top right is a unique geographical feature in Atlantic Canada. It's a fjord. As you may have heard, there are fjords in countries like New Zealand, or Iceland, and numerous others as well. And a fjord is kind of unique to this area. The ocean and river kind of are meeting, and there's unique cliffs and whatnot, and some nice scenery to see. There's the bottom left, Signal Hill, which is a historical site with great views, and Cape Spear Lighthouse in the bottom right, where there is the coast and rocks and unique formations, as well as just some nice picture opportunities for tourists to enjoy. All right, and getting to the highlight of the Atlantic provinces, getting into the province of New Brunswick. That's where my school, the Fredericton Christian Academy, is located. It's also where I grew up. Fun fact about this webinar, you didn't know that. Wow, Josiah grew up in New Brunswick? Yep, I did. Pretty great spot. And New Brunswick's capital city is Fredericton, and that's where my school is located. The flight from Toronto would take you about 1 hour and 50 minutes. So if you've been paying attention at all, you notice that Fredericton is the closest of the other capital cities that I mentioned in relation to Toronto. So it's the most western of the Eastern Canadian Atlantic provinces, and there's tons of enjoyable things to do in New Brunswick. As you can see, the city of Fredericton is beautiful. The top left photo, some lovely fall colors shown there. It's fall right now, and the leaves are yellow, orange, brown, just beautiful, and a lovely area. Over 100 kilometers of walking and biking trails in Fredericton, and so many cultural and education experiences to be had in Fredericton. The top right photo is Hopewell Rocks, which are unique rock formations just on the coastline of New Brunswick. There's Fundy National Park, which is close to me and my family's hearts. The waterfall here is called Laverty Falls, and each year my family would go camping in Fundy National Park and hiking around the area. And Laverty Falls is a great hike if you're ever in that area. A few hours, not too difficult, nice trails, but a nice waterfall and cool swim midway through, which you're seeing here pictured, and kind of a fun experience. Then there's Parley Beach, pictured on the bottom right. Parley Beach is in a town called Shediac, New Brunswick, and Parley Beach actually has the warmest waters north of North Carolina. So for a few hundred kilometers of coastline there in America and all the way up to New Brunswick, the waters are not quite as warm. But here in Parley Beach, specific area of New Brunswick, the waters are warm. You can enjoy them in the summer months, and with lots of different water activities as well. All right, so there's lots of unique culinary experiences in food in Atlantic Canada, and I wanted to highlight a few. Now, if you paid attention to some of the different sites and things that I've been talking about with the provinces in Atlantic Canada, you've noticed that there's lots of ocean, there's lots of coastal views and things like that. And that really is connected to our culinary as well. As you can imagine, with ocean around, there are things like crab, lobster, mussels, scallops available, kind of really fresh as well, of course, coming out of the Atlantic Ocean. There's also something called lobster rolls, and lobster rolls are like lobster meat mixed with mayonnaise and some herbs and put into a bun. It sounds kind of basic. It's like, is that a hot dog bun? Yes, it is, but it's really delicious flavor that people, whether you're tourists or locals, always enjoy lobster rolls as a treat. Next is a kind of a unique Atlantic Canadian treat called donair. Donair is spiced beef and sweet garlic sauce in a wrap. If you can think of it kind of like shawarma, shawarma is kind of American version of what donair would be, kind of so a Middle Eastern flavors and kind of a fun, unique thing to have in Atlantic Canada. One of my favorite dishes, actually, very delicious. And poutine as well. You may have heard of Canada and think, okay, what are some unique foods there? Poutine is another one as well. All right, now that you're nice and hungry, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Fredericton. Now, yeah, sure, Fredericton is a good place for food. Lots of great restaurants here. But I was joking about the trailer into more food-related topics. Actually, I just want to tell you about the awesome city that my school is located in. So we've talked about Atlantic Canada, experiencing the different provinces in Atlantic Canada. We talked about New Brunswick and Fredericton, and I want to talk specifically about some different things that you can do and enjoy in Fredericton. First thing I want to mention, which so many families, it's so important to so many families, is safety. You know, you might be traveling with your child, your son, your daughter, when they come to FCA to study, or you might be sending them to us and just hoping, man, I really hope it's a safe area, or what is it like there? Well, I'm here to tell you about it, and I can promise you that Fredericton is a very safe area. There's statistics that back that up, but also just the experience of living here. I lived here. I moved here when I was young. I moved here when I was 17. And there's just tons of really kind and nice, welcoming people here. And it is a safe area to grow and to learn. All right, so Fredericton really is a safe city for students and families. Fredericton has a lower crime rate than, or significantly lower crime rate than the Canadian national average. So that means that people can come and enjoy Fredericton. They can enjoy the experiences. For example, pictured here is the Garrison Night Market. It's a night market that takes place on Thursdays in the summer, and it takes place in the evening. And people come out in the hundreds to enjoy this thing. They're not worried about their safety. They're not worried about pickpockets or people bothering them. It's a safe area. Fredericton is overall, but it's a safe opportunity for people just to come and enjoy community together. There are vendors, there are pop-up restaurants, and the town kind of comes out, supports these local things, and enjoys the time together. And you'll find whether you're at something like the Garrison Night Market, whether you're at the mall, whether you're in an elevator, at the hotel, or at our school meeting new people, people are kind, people are nice. They'll often say hi, they'll often ask you where you're from. And people in the Maritimes, that maritime hospitality is truly shown in Fredericton. And as I mentioned, it really is safe to explore and go out at nighttime. For example, I like to get out and run, sometimes in the evening, sometimes it's in the early mornings, and I'm never worried about my safety when I'm out in Fredericton. It is a really nice place to go, explore, and learn. Next, let's talk about academics in Fredericton. So Fredericton is the education capital of New Brunswick. There are so many unique and enjoyable education experiences here in Fredericton. And I want to highlight a few of them because FCA, my school, is a pathway to the top universities in Canada. And it's always valuable, I find, for families to know a little bit about the university and college opportunities that are available, whether that's in Fredericton or in different parts of Canada. So specific to Fredericton, because we're the education capital of New Brunswick, we have 3 universities and 10 colleges in our city. I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but Fredericton is a city of about 60,000 people. And that means there's a lot of post-secondary or university and college options for students to enjoy, whether they're planning to stay in Fredericton or they just want to be around these opportunities. Maybe they want to take classes online through one of those universities, St. Thomas or New Brunswick, University of New Brunswick, or they want to do sports camps, arts opportunities, or take tours of universities in order to see, hey, this is what a university looks like. I wonder what the University of Toronto looks like. I wonder what McGill looks like, and to have things to compare to between different universities. Fredericton is an awesome place for those connections. As I mentioned, University of New Brunswick, that's actually Canada's oldest university, established in 1785. So back before I was born, like a couple years before I was born, but really a really neat university. It's where I have a few degrees from, including my master's most recently, and just a nice area and community with many different programs offered, things like computer science, engineering, nursing, and so much more. There's also St. Thomas University, which is close by, kind of has a connected campus to the University of New Brunswick, and it's a liberal arts university with numerous different programs available from English to philosophy, etc. There's Yorkville University, which is a large online university, which is based in Fredericton. And there's the New Brunswick Community College, which is our premier college. For those who don't know kind of the difference, college and university in Canada, colleges are more vocational or quicker job access focused. And so New Brunswick Community College would have programs like carpentry and engineering technology and things like that. All right. And Fredericton has numerous events and enjoyable experiences during the year. I just want to tell you about a few of them, but there's way too many for me to even talk about in today's webinar. But Fredericton has unique events like the Harvest Music Festival, which is an international jazz and blues music festival that happens in September each year. There are artists that come from Canada, America, and other countries, and people that come from all over the region by the thousands to enjoy these concerts. There's also the University of New Brunswick, which I mentioned in the last slide. The University of New Brunswick's men's hockey team is a 10-time national champion for the university division. So they have won the national championship 10 times in their history. Most recently was actually just this year. They went undefeated, meaning they won all their games and did not lose a single game all season. Incredible legacy of hockey excellence at UNB, and so much fun just for a few dollars. Myself and the international students, we can go watch the University of New Brunswick hockey team play, and the community comes out and supports the team. It's a great experience. Another thing to do in Fredericton is Frostival, which is a winter festival. As you can see in the bottom left photo, there's skating. This is an outdoor rink like downtown Fredericton. It's really neat. They maintain it all winter. But Frostival is a festival where they'll do skating, snow sculpting, and different indoor and outdoor events to enjoy the winter time in Fredericton. The next one, as I mentioned in a previous slide, is the Garrison Night Market, which takes place in the summers, and the Fredericton Marathon. Fredericton Marathon is one of the 2 marathons that's run in Fredericton each year, and it goes by so many of the unique sites and areas of Fredericton. All right, now I want to talk about FCA, my school, the Fredericton Christian Academy. FCA is the premier independent school in Atlantic Canada. There are numerous choices in Atlantic Canada when it comes to education, but FCA is the top one. We prepare students for the top universities in Canada and around the world. And I wanted to highlight a little bit about my school with you. FCA's vision and philosophy. So our vision, meaning what we're shooting for, is this. We want to strive to exceed and enrich the educational experiences of every individual student. So we want to help our students not just to learn, not just to grow, those are good things, but we want them to learn and grow as individuals. We know that some students love science. We know that some students love math. We know that some students are great communicators and sharers of ideas. We know that some students are incredible at working with their hands, and other students are incredible at ideas. It's super valuable to them to grow as individuals, and it's very important for us to help them to grow and refine their skills. So how do we do that? Our philosophy is where that comes into play. We help our students to grow by challenging them. We challenge them to grow in knowledge, skill, character, leadership, and courage to dynamically impact the world. Now, I'm sure you can understand this, but the world needs leaders. The world needs honest leaders. It's people who are wise and kind and compassionate. And those are the type of people and students that we are raising up. Our staff are highly qualified educators who truly care for the international students and all of the students that come to our school. As I mentioned before, and I'm sure you'll hear me say it again, FCA is a pathway to the top universities in Canada and around the world. As key to this is our university advising program, something that I oversee, where students are helped with their dreams and their goals for the future. And then we help students with their applications, their references, and the process of applying, being accepted, and going to university. Now, you may have heard in the news in the last year or so that the Canadian government has put limitations on the number of visas that Canadian universities can grant. Now, I'm sure that's a challenging situation for some of those universities, but that's not something that any of the students that come to FCA need to worry about. Because if you study at FCA, you don't have those visa limitations apply to you. You study at FCA, you can study doing, grades 10, 11, 12, or whichever grades you come for. And then you don't have to worry about the limitations because you're applying to those universities without being considered a student that's coming from another country. You're already considered being in Canada, so the visa limitations do not apply to you. That really helps our students to be accepted with incredible acceptance rates. For example, last year, we graduated 10 international students. We had 9 of them apply to university. So 1 did not apply, but 9 of them applied to university. And we had 8 total acceptances to the top 10 universities in Canada. Every single one of those 9 was accepted to 1 or more university or college. We had 22 university and colleges that they were accepted to for the 9 students in total. So our students don't have limitations to get into Canadian universities. They can get directly into Canadian universities. In fact, our students get into their top choices almost always. We had 2 students go to the University of Toronto last year. Other students accepted to University of Calgary, University of Alberta, Western University, McMaster University. We had another student go to University of Ottawa, and on and on. So if your family is interested in sending your children to the top universities in Canada and around the world, FCA is an excellent choice. We are the premier independent school in Atlantic Canada, and I can help your children to be able to reach their dreams of studying at the top universities. Now, FCA is a place of high academic achievement. It's also a place of tons of wonderful experiences for students of different skills and interests. We call it our co-curricular program. And we call it that because our students participate in sports, music, clubs, and arts. And this is all under the FCA umbrella or under our school's name. For example, we have different sports teams like the soccer team, baseball, basketball, volleyball, badminton, and skiing. So many different things for our students to enjoy. And students compete as FCA Eagles. That's our mascot. And our community comes out and supports them. For example, this coming weekend, our boys and girls varsity soccer teams are going to be playing in some provincial playoffs. And we're really excited for them to go and to represent the school well. Next, we have music and drama opportunities. There are numerous plays and musicals we do throughout the year. Last year, they did 2 musicals from Disney, Beauty and the Beast and the Aristocats. There's going to be even more musicals and plays this year. And they often do a different one for middle school and for high school. So the students who in different ages can have the chance to be the stars and to try out different roles, which is really fun. We have numerous clubs at FCA, like VEX Robotics, for example. VEX Robotics is an international robotics program. It teaches students the kind of engineering and computer science skills, and it's run by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, which is a top 5 university in the world. And this program helps our students to be able to compete here in Fredericton and in Atlantic Canada, as well as compete in international tournaments. For the last 2 years, our team has gone to Dallas, Texas to compete in the World Championships, which is really cool. As well, there are creative arts opportunities, whether students like photography, art, creative writing, they have an opportunity to experience different things to put their art up around the school and to beautify the school and beautify our community. As I mentioned before, we have many different international program events. There are tons of different opportunities for our students to have fun and to connect with each other. We do things like going to the movies, we go skiing, we go whale watching, which is a unique thing to do in Atlantic Canada. We actually go out on the ocean and on a boat to be able to see whales, dolphins, and seals in their natural environment. There are so many different opportunities we do, from sports games to different trips. A few weeks from now, we'll be going to visit 2 universities in other cities, Mount Allison University and Dalhousie University, and staying overnight in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So we do lots of different things together. We get out, we adventure, and we make real connections with our students. And as you can see, we have students from all around the world that come to FCA. We have students from 9 countries currently studying at FCA, and over 25 countries in our history that have come to study at the Fredericton Christian Academy. So no matter which continent you're from, no matter which country or town you're from, you're welcome here at FCA. And we're looking forward to getting to know you. I wanted to highlight one of our students in particular. This is Henry. And Henry is in his second year with us at FCA. He's in grade 12. He came last year at the beginning of his grade 11 year. And Henry's from Hong Kong. And Henry shared this with me the other day, so I wanted to share it with you. And I've called this case study, or this example, Henry's Happy Place. Okay. Henry said this to me the other day. He said, I love Fredericton because the people are so nice and polite. I enjoy the teaching style at FCA. It's very interactive. I like participating in discussions. The teachers take great care of me. They're always willing to provide support. Speaking of support, it's awesome that the FCA community comes to our sports games to cheer us on. One of my favorite things to do is soak in the chill vibes from the view of Fredericton on the walking bridge with some music and coffee. For all these reasons, I plan to stay in Fredericton and attend UNB when I graduate. So Henry shared that with me the other day. I just want to share it with you. Our students come from all around the world, whether that's Hong Kong, Korea, Burkina Faso, or Brazil. And as I mentioned, we do take great care of them. This is a caring community. And whether from what Henry's talking about here, whether it's the city of Fredericton, whether it's FCA's teachers that take great care of him, the community members that come and support his soccer games. By the way, Henry's the soccer team captain this year. It's his appreciation for this area of Fredericton and his desire to go to the University of New Brunswick. We want our students to be successful in whatever different ways that is, and we want to prepare them to make an impact on the world. And this is an interesting story from Henry. Now, our students are welcome to attend university wherever they'd like. As I mentioned, Henry wants to go to UNB. That's awesome. And we have students that are applying to UBC, University of Toronto, and they'll be accepted there. It's whatever you and your family is interested in. That's what I'm interested in. And we help you to get there. All right. So you might be thinking, wow, FCA seems like a great school, Josiah. How do I apply? Well, I've got some great information for you. You would email my colleague, our Director of Admissions, Mrs. Sarah Jane Bishop, and her email is listed there on the screen. It's s.bishop@fcae.ca. You would email her, just kind of tell her a little bit about yourself and ask to apply to FCA. She would then send you the application package. You would complete the application, send it back with your application fee. Then in a few days, you would receive your admissions decision. And I should mention here that FCA has rolling admissions. So families can apply to FCA during any time of the school year, even at the end of the school year. We will just process your application for the next school year. And we have no minimum language requirements for FCA. So students that are very beginning English speakers or students that are very advanced English speakers, everyone is welcome and can be successful here at FCA. We have ESL programming, different supports and policies in place. So you would receive your admissions decision. You would then pay your tuition. You would apply for a Canadian study permit to study at FCA. And you would, after a few weeks, get your study permit approved. You would book your flights and you would come join us at FCA and you would come join our community. So we look forward to hearing from you. We look forward to connecting with you. If you watch this webinar today, even if it's a few weeks or months after it's posted, you're welcome to contact us at any time. So I want to say thank you. Thanks so much for joining me today for this FCA International webinar series. I've been your host, Josiah Marr. I'm the Director of International Students. It's a true joy to serve our families and to serve our international students. It's really fun to see them come, to learn and grow, to develop their skills, and to send them off to the top universities in the world to make an impact. Thanks so much for taking the time to learn about FCA. Contact us at any time. We look forward to welcoming you to our community. See you.